Marie, my wife, and I, we started trying to start our family, and we had always had this plan in our head that we would have biological children and then we would adopt children. And the craziest thing about it is both of us being of pretty much good health and not having any issues, we expected this to be something we could do without any problems. But after a period of trying to have children and things not being real successful, we finally went and saw a specialist, and the craziest thing was that the doctor told me that, he said, "Son, the likelihood of you fathering a child is almost impossible." We started weighing out our options, and Marie and I decided that with the type of situation we were in, we had not only some decisions to make based on faith, but we had some decisions to make of stewardship. And we felt like our best decision that would honor both would be to move forward with adoption. When you look at how I was brought into the family of God and how my wife was brought into the family of God, hopefully one day how Grayson will be brought into the family of God, and how basically any of us are brought into the family of God, it's through God's willingness to bring us into His family and adopt us as sons and daughters. When you start looking about how we fit into God's family in that picture, and we have a purpose and we have an intent to grow our family, Marie and I just couldn't deny adoption. And adoption was never really, it wasn't ever a second choice. It was always a primary choice. It just was in a different time frame than what God had for us. Through a lot of prayer, through a lot of support with our church here at Ashland, and really being engulfed into the adoption culture that so many people are a part of at Ashland, and so many people share within their testimony, we started to really see the necessity of the choice to adopt, not just in our lives, but in the lives of others that we could impact because of just the reflection of the gospel. And so we started working toward our adoption. We started working towards raising money and getting our paperwork ready, and basically we got to the point where everything was done and we were just waiting for a family to select us to adopt their child. When I came home one day, I'd been out coaching soccer all day, and I come home and Marie's got the house really clean, and she's been cooking all day, and I smell something baking in the oven, and she just looks at me, and I can tell she's been busy and seems a little nervous. She says, "Well, I think I'm pregnant." And I was like, "What? Hold on, this can't be true." And she was, and we went to a doctor, and she was 7 weeks pregnant, and my whole world just stopped again, because when you have to wrap your mind around the fact that you can't have children and then to be blessed with a child, you can't put into words how that feels, and what about that just completely reveals God to you in your life. The best thing about it is it's really taught us that everything's for His glory. It's not about our plan. It's not about our glory. And I really learned in my life, and Marie has mentioned the same thing, we really learned a lot about putting our pride aside and just being willing to step out on faith when we know the Lord's working, and to trust that what He does is going to further His kingdom. So now Grayson he's a year and a month old, and we are still planning to adopt. We've currently renewed all of our paperwork with adoption agencies we're working with, and we are pursuing to still adopt, and the desire to adopt now is even greater than it was before we had Grayson. And then more than anything, it's just really taught us a lot about the gospel. Christ has totally changed our world and has really impressed upon our hearts that for His kingdom and for His glory, we need to open our home for adoption so that we can make an impact in someone else's life. My name's Tyler King. and Jesus changes everything.